911, what is your emergency?
Highway 81 just north of Terrell, in between Terrell and Ryan, Oklahoma. It's probably about 3 miles north of Terrell.
There's no way that's a deer.
No, and it actually looks like there's a piece of clothing maybe laying in the middle of the road now. I don't want to get too close.
No, this is another 911 call that's looking at it.
Can you guys hear me? Oh, I see the bubble moving, so that's a yes. What the heck is up, you guys? I know I'm early, but I was chomping at the bit. Fast Eddie, as usual, typically being a scroungy fuck, doing what scroungy fucks do. So, I have a lot to say, but I know why y'all are all here, so we'll just get right into it because all of you were with Cousin. I can't believe you are in my chat and not up here. I'm just kidding. You could be up here if you want, but let me get through this first little spiel because we were all right. So right that it's okay. It's not really surprising because, we all have common sense and we did the investigation together and we all came to the same conclusions. Forming your own opinion, doing your own research. By the way, make sure you all do that. That's why I'm going to break this down in a way that you can find the information on your own so that you are very able and capable and encouraged to go do your own research and form your own opinions because I am not a professional, but I'm just going to tell you how I feel like I always do. So everybody that we were suspecting along the way, Jack, the quote unquote best friend, Carter, Avery, Bub Wilcox, the landowner and the grandpa, Stevie, Logan, all have been named and what is the word? Accused of having some type of involvement with Noah Presgrove's death. And I say bombshell because on Monday, the family released to some public news sources that we're about to go over, all of them. Whoever's talking about it, I'm going to play it for you tonight so you can see and form your own opinion. And then I'm going to break it down along the way how I said something similar or we were on the same path. And most importantly, we thought the same thing of the same people. In this 75,000, I believe, don't quote me because I saved a lot of it to do live so that you would get my live and raw reaction, but I did briefly read over it. I think it's a $75,000 wrongful death lawsuit, if I'm not mistaken. So let's just share the screen and get right into it. And I'm going to play some news clips at first, and then I'm just going to read the whole Daily Ridge report because the Daily Ridge broke it down very well. Shoot, Avery, Catfish, I love all you. I see all you, but listen, I've been gone so long. I'm gonna try to delegate between the two, but I'm so excited. I got to get this stuff out first, or I'm going to forget it because I got a script that I'm not going to follow because you know how I do. All right, so let's get started with a few news clips just to get y'all a feel for what I'm talking about, because it's so exciting, because it makes me personally feel like all the hours that we all put into looking into the details, like it didn't go unnoticed. Someone somewhere with importance was seeing the same things that we were. And I'm like, thank God, because I was losing hope in this case. I really was. Now, this has nothing to do with law enforcement, and law enforcement is still holding their ground about it's an open investigation and they're still investigating. Blase swaze bullshit. It's been 2 years almost, and don't I'm gonna rant, and that's not why I'm here. So let me just start with the news clips, and I'm gonna mute myself because I'm gonna keep ranting. Okay, so I'm gonna let this um I gotta change banners real quick. And I'm not obviously on screen right now, but you can still hear me because I want y'all to see the full screen. Really, I'm just gonna risk it because I haven't been here in a while, and whatever. Oh no, that doesn't cover up anything. Sorry, talking out loud. So, okay, as you can see, I'll just start over and go back to Google, and I just simply is Noah Presgrove. That's what I typed, and it's all over. 2 hours ago, 10 hours ago, 11 hours ago. It's everywhere. Okay, so these are very public news sources, very open to the public. I'm not giving any information that could be detrimental to the case that already hasn't been spoke about on other public, very public news sources. You see, you got the people.com, Daily Mail, News Nation, KFOR, International Business Times in the UK. Like, it's everywhere right now. So we'll just start with the News Nation. The video, and then I'm gonna read all y'all the Daily Mail one because that's the most descriptive. Like, that's the most information in one article, so I don't have to bounce back and forth between several articles. So that's the one I'm gonna read y'all. But this is 1 second. I'm gonna mute myself.
Will mark 2 years since the body of Noah Presgrove was found on the side of a highway in southern Oklahoma. If that name doesn't jog your memory, I'll bet you remember the details. Noah was 19 and naked except for his shoes, 2 mismatched shoes. A pair of shorts was found several feet away, along with a metal chain, some of his teeth, and a clump of hair. His remains were in terrible shape, and Noah's cause of death is listed as multiple blunt force injuries, possibly from a vehicle strike. Although, and I quote, there were no vehicle parts or debris.
Hi, Michael. It's so good to see you. Y'all give Michael a warm welcome. He's been huge. I'm telling you, like, huge on the Facebook end of keeping Noah's case active and keeping people talking about it and getting the right information out there and stopping the misinformation. Like, he's been a huge warrior for Noah. So give him a warm welcome and make sure he feels welcome and all that good stuff. I don't know. I'm just saying words right now. But I'm going to push play. I'm so glad you popped in, Michael. Good to see you.
Observed at the scene. Noah's manner of death, accident, suicide, homicide, or natural, is actually marked unknown. And I repeat, We are fast approaching 2 years since Noah died. He had been at a Labor Day party that lasted the entire long weekend. According to the autopsy report, Noah had left the party to take a spin on an ATV, which he promptly rolled after speeding through the woods. He apparently walked it off and returned to the party, where then he apparently argued with his girlfriend and took off yet again. And that is the last anyone saw Noah alive, anyone that we know of. Just today, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol told us they're still investigating Noah's death, but they've said before they're not investigating a murder. For their part, Noah's family has waited for answers and justice as best they can, but now they're seeking both of those things on their own. They have just filed a wrongful death lawsuit against a number of people and parties that they say are responsible, some identified, some not. Their lawyer, Ryan Sailors, joins me now live. Ryan, thanks so much for being on the program. Who do they think is responsible? Who does Noah's family think is responsible for his death?
Hey, yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me. As for the responsibility, there's several people that we believe are liable for Noah's death. Under Oklahoma law, the property owners, the owner of the house, have certain duties to ensure that their invitees and guests are kept free from harm. And we also believe that under Oklahoma law, the liability is applicable to the people that were providing alcohol to minors as well. So we really have a wide range of responsible parties here.
Can I ask you, I get the alcohol connection, but I'm not sure I get the party hosts, because Noah wasn't found dead at the party site. He was found dead on the highway, quite some distance away. How do you make that connection?
Yeah, so the connection there is that when the medical examiner, as you know, the blood alcohol level in Noah was extremely high. And that is directly related to his attendance at this party and directly related to people providing alcohol to a minor. If Noah would not have been provided that alcohol, if Noah would not have been in attendance at this party, it is very likely Noah would still be here today, and I wouldn't be on here discussing this matter with you.
And I wish we weren't, honestly. The kid just looks like such a sweetheart in all the pictures that we're showing of him. It's just such a tragedy. The complaint names four of Noah's friends who were at the party, one of their fathers, the owners of the house that you mentioned, and also a store where the alcohol was purchased. But in criminal law, if you have a whole bunch of defendants, everybody points the finger at the other, and then you get reasonable doubt as to who's to blame. In civilian and civil law, do you see a potential for each party to blame the other and thereby come up empty completely?
So as you brought up, criminal law, you have beyond a reasonable doubt. With civil claims, it's a preponderance of the evidence. So our burden of proof is significantly lower, which is an important distinction to make. But even if we end up with cross claims or counterclaims being brought up here, I think as we go through our discovery process and we get further evidence to support what we already have on hand, I think the story is going to start to become much more clear on what actually happened to Noah, and the accountability will start to actually be able to be in place there.
And Ryan, with that, is there a theory here, either your theory, the family's theory, of what happened to Noah?
Yeah, so we raised this in our filed petition. We feel very confident that Noah was not killed from a hit and run. When we look at the story so far, we see that this, as you mentioned in your intro, this was a multiple day party where alcohol was being provided. Throughout this multiple day party, we believe that 2 or more defendants entered into a conspiracy to beat Noah. And then intentionally or accidentally, this beating resulted in Noah's death. And that's all within our filed petition. That's public record through OSCN.
And so, Ryan, do you think that they discarded Noah's body the way it was found on the side of the highway?
That, we can't say for certain if it was discarded or if after the beating, Noah was walking away with severe brain bleeding or other significant injuries that then finally got him down along the highway. But given the nature of how his body was found, it would appear that the running theory is that it might have been dumped along the highway.
It is all extraordinarily tragic. Keep us posted. We'd appreciate finding, some justice for this family, this poor kid and his family. Really appreciate this, Ryan Sailors. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
1 second, they're a neighbor you like.
Okay, so first and foremost, what the heck? Like, what the heck? That is verbatim what happened. So thank God somebody is paying attention, and somebody that matters, in a position that matters, that can do something about it, put the pieces together too. Like, oh God, you don't know like how much that makes my soul smile. Like, it is amazing because like I said at the beginning of the stream, I was starting to lose faith in the people in charge of, I don't know, doing something. So, okay, let me switch gears and share my screen to this article. And it is very descriptive. Stupid advertisements. Did I say that out loud? Okay. So the title, exclusive, Noah Presgrove's family name names and shocking, I think it says shock. I think they meant shocking. I don't know, but it says shock. Lawsuit over death of teen found naked on the road next to his teeth. Okay. So there's like 19 pictures that are included with this article. Okay. Yeah, 18 plus this. So I'm going to go over all the pictures after I read it to you. Thank you, TT. And Candace Howard, Nick, Raditha, Cousin. Fast Eddie still ain't shit. No, I'm just kidding. Watcher Crazy. So many of you have popped in here and it's going so fast. I missed all of you so dearly. And yes, this means I'm back because I think it was meant to be anyway, because I went to go get my glasses today so I could see and I could read. And then the first thing I seen when I put my glasses on, when I started scrolling on Facebook, was this article. And I'm like, oh my God, it's meant to be. I have to go live today. I have to make a comeback. Like, because this is everything that we work towards and spent hours analyzing it and deep diving it and breaking it down and giving everybody's perspectives and bouncing off each other. And we came to these same conclusions. So this is an attaboy for all of you in chat too, because I couldn't have done it without you all. This is our thing. We did this. We knew this before it went public. This is all the same conclusions we came to. So we weren't wrong. And that's got to feel good because I know it makes me feel great. So let's just get to it. So under this picture, it says Noah Presgrove, 19, was only wearing his shoes when his body was discovered. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we know all that. Okay, so the family of a teenager mysteriously found dead on a lonely highway are suing 7 people claiming he was beaten to death. 7 people, okay? And you're going to recognize all 7 of them. If you've been a part of this journey, if you're new here, I recommend you go watch. Don't leave. Obviously, after you're done watching me live, go watch my playlist. I have a whole compilation of videos and live streams and different screenshots that I compiled together that is a playlist of Noah Presgrove. I have like 30 videos in it. And you will see those 7 names on all of my streams because I been firm on what I thought happened from the very beginning. And you guys in chat all, for the most part, agree. Occasional person that comes in is like, Team Stevie, and they're innocent, and they don't last long over here. But we've all been on the same page. So I can't stress that enough. Like, this is not gonna be any new information. A little bit of it is new, but we already knew this. So Noah Presgrove, 19, was wearing only shoes when his body was discovered surrounded by his teeth on a desolate stretch of US 81 Terrell, Oklahoma on September 4th, 2023. He was last seen alive about a mile away at a 4-day, 22nd birthday party with friends over the Labor Day weekend that was heavily documented on social media. Presgrove, suffered massive head and upper body injuries that led him to die from internal bleeding, but the cause of those injuries remains a mystery. His cadre of close pals, still raging well into that Sunday night, consistently claimed that they had no idea how he died, if they were even awake when he did. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol is not investigating his death as a murder, but his family has long believed he was beaten to death and his body was dumped on the road. Almost 2 years after his death, and with barely a peep from cops, they are out of patience and filed a $75,000 wrongful death lawsuit on Monday. Presgrove was beat to death by one or more of the defendants, the lawsuit claimed, without specifying who they believed did it. Oh, guys, it's going to get so much better. Wait for this. The lawsuit left open the possibility that the alleged beating wasn't meant to kill him and included unidentified individuals among the defendants. So let me just preface this out in the open. The ones that aren't mentioned, because legally they can't be mentioned in a something that's on public record, that contains minors. And we know who those minors are. Bryson and Mike Tyson. You guys know who I'm talking about. The minors. Okay. Either, this is a quote from the lawsuit, either intentionally or accidentally, the defendants unalived Presgrove, the lawsuit claimed. Although the death may have been unintended, hosting the party and beating of Noah was intentionally malicious and in reckless disregard of his rights. That's a direct quote from the lawsuit. Do you still have the video of Noah riding shotgun with Jack? Yes, I do.
The war in Ukraine changes
Oh,
lives in
what
a
is
second.
this?
But
Hold
help
on.
is near. Free consultations from SPIVDIA, psychological, legal, and career related. Your support makes these.
I don't even know where that was coming from, so I'm just going to refresh the page. I'm not chasing down an ad. I don't even want to listen to it. Okay, here it is. So, Brian, no, he isn't a minor anymore, but when it happened, he was when it took place, they were minors. So, and I don't know this for certain. Once again, this is my very unprofessional opinion. That's just where they say, where, how do I say it? The parts that were redacted and the names that weren't mentioned couldn't fit anybody else more gooder, y'all know how I say that, than them. So I could be completely wrong, but that's my theory for why there was unnamed individuals, because they dang sure didn't hold no mercy in naming everybody else that they suspected. And it's all the right people. Again, in my very unprofessional opinion, allegedly in my opinion. Do your own research, form your own opinion, blase swaze. Y'all, I know y'all can't stand hearing that over and over again, but I'm required as a channel holder to say that because people be crazy. The lawsuit left open the possibility that the alleged beating wasn't meant to kill him and included unidentified individuals. Okay, let me jump back to where we were before that ad started taking over my stream. Okay, although the death may have OHP, okay, Oklahoma Highway Patrol, didn't explicitly rule out manslaughter in its statement last year. Presgrove's family insisted his death was not caused by being hit by a motor vehicle, an early explanation now thought to be unlikely by investigators. The complaint named 4 of Presgrove's close friends who were at the party. One of their fathers, hey, and you know who that father is? Oh, yes, Jack's daddy, Caleb, the sketchy, I got teeth in my pocket, I was on scene before the... Yes, he was named. Imagine that. We'll get to it because they go into it in this article. I really am pleased by who put this article together because it avoids you having to go read through a lot of legal talk, that terminology that you don't understand. Of course, I've already combed through it, but this breaks down the key points, and I can be lazy. I'm just gonna be honest with you. So Prescott's family. Okay, so listen to this. Prescott's close friends, 4 of them who are at the party. One of their fathers, owners of the house, so that's Bud, and a shop where they bought booze. Presgrove's best friend, Jack Newton, and on and off again girlfriend, Carter Combs, were 2 of the most prominent defendants in the lawsuit. Now, I can show y'all if y'all want to brief. After we read this, I can show y'all a couple of my live streams from April of last year where I was reading through Caleb and Jack's interactions online, and I was breaking it down. Carter, I was eating them alive, baby. I was breaking it down, telling this don't make sense, this don't add up, this ain't right. And I'm glad I wasn't the only one. We weren't the only ones to put those pieces together. So, not to tune my own horn, but beep, 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 beep. I'm just kidding, kind of. Jack was singled out as who allegedly bought the alcohol Presgrove drank, which the complaint argued made him partly culpable for his death. Oh God. Okay. Now, this is Jack and Carter, Jack Newton and Carter Combs. Prescott's best friend, Jack Newton, and on and off girlfriend, Carter Combs, were 2 of the most prominent defendants in the lawsuit. Okay. We're going to skip over this because we ain't to that part yet. But y'all recognize her. This is Logan. The one that was sleeping on the floor with, hi, Racing Stars. Good to see you. Okay, so he being Jack, allegedly bought the booze from Napoli's convenience store in Marlow, Oklahoma, also named as a defendant and accused of selling alcohol to a minor. Because guess what? Jack and Noah are the same age. Jack wasn't 21 either. So, uh-oh. 2 other girls, Avery Jo Combs, the birthday girl, and Logan Jernigan, were, along with Carter Combs, accused of hosting the party. The party was a civil conspiracy to furnish alcoholic beverages to underage and intoxicated individuals, such as Presgrove, over the course of several days, the lawsuit claimed. They were accused of providing Presgrove with alcohol even after he was already intoxicated and breaching their duty of care by doing so. Presgrove's autopsy report found he had a blood alcohol of 0.14. Jack's father, Caleb Newton, was accused in the lawsuit of allowing Presgrove to drive or ride on an ATV, which flipped and allegedly injured him. Newton has long maintained he was never at the party, and the ATV has in the past been referred to as belonging to Jack. Avery and Carter's mother, Stevie Howard, was named in the suit because she owned a trailer next to the house that was used in the party, as was her father, Johnny Trout Wilcoxon. That's Bub, who owned the property but was not present. That's Avery. That's Caleb and his wife. That's Jack's dad and stepmom. That's Stevie, Avery and Carter's mom, Bub's stepdaughter. Howard has been one of the most vocal major players in the saga on Facebook groups that sprung up to discuss his death, strongly defending her children and other partygoers and dismissing sinister theories about Presgrove's death. The lawsuit demanded at least $75,000 in damage for funeral expenses, pain and suffering, and loss of earnings and companionship, plus punitive damages. Defendants acted maliciously and or in reckless disregard of Presgrove's rights, justifying an award of punitive damages, the lawsuit claimed. The lawsuit offered no evidence that Presgrove was beaten to death, let alone by anyone at the party, and none has emerged since his body was found, other than the nature of his injuries. Dr. Stuart Fisher, an internist doctor with extensive experience in emergency medicine, agreed with the premise of the lawsuit when he reviewed Presgrove's autopsy report for the Daily Mail last year. He concluded the injuries Presgrove suffered were so catastrophic and varied that him being mortally wounded in a severe beating was the most likely cause. The inclusion of unidentified individuals in the lawsuit admitted the possibility that Jack, Avery, Carter, and Logan played no direct role in his death. Jack claimed he happened upon the scene of Presgrove's body about 6 a.m. as he left to go fishing with his father, Caleb, whom he called at 6:05 a.m. Now, I have all of these statements, screenshots, timelines, like you name it. I broke it down in this case. Like there's not an aspect I didn't look into to the best of my ability in the deepest that I could dig. Okay. And Jack doesn't tell the story the same way ever. He's been interviewed by several news stations and magazines, every time he tells the story, he tells it different. And that says enough for me. When you tell the truth, it doesn't change. Okay. The 7-page complaint includes some of the known facts in the case, including the ATV accident and the argument just before Presgrove vanished. Toward the end of the party, defendants Jack Newton and Avery Howard were seen verbally fighting with Presgrove, it claimed. Now, that's changed several times. It was Logan and Carter the first time, and then it was Avery and Carter the second time. And then I believe it was Mikey and Avery the third time. And then somebody's name that has completely fallen out of all of this, who I think should be right up in here in the middle of it with everybody else, is Jasmine. You can't forget Jasmine. Jasmine's the one who posted the weird Snapchat at 3 a.m. talking about, "Welp, Noah's missing." And she's smiling and looks like her hair's wet. Where the hell did her roll? And she is a registered nurse. So she had an obligation, an oath she took for her employment that she can't just turn a blind eye to someone that needs medical attention and just do nothing about it. Remember you found where Jack texted no one getting in trouble. My family knows powerful people dead by 4 a.m. Oh, yes, I have all of that. I have all of that. I still have all those videos, and we're going to go over them a few of them, and not a lot. I'm going to take it slow tonight and not push myself too hard, and then I'll come back tomorrow or the next day and we'll jump back in, because this is just me letting you know, like, hey, someone with, in the family, they were watching and putting all the pieces together. Hold on. Remember, mom and dads, if you underage kids have a party when you're away, you are still liable. Boy, did my parents look out. Phew. Well, yes, that is a very true statement. I only laughed at your part at the end. But yes, when you own property and allow your children, whether they're grown or not grown, you as a property owner have a right to make sure that stuff like that doesn't happen on your property, or you could be liable, not criminally, but definitely civilly. Definitely civilly. And listen, we have found out more in this civil lawsuit than anything's ever coming out criminally, because you don't have to go through the corrupt ass police department that doesn't want to say anything about anything unless it's to the people that are mysteriously named in this lawsuit. They were giving them information left and right. Didn't Jasmine lie about being a nurse? She was a certified ass wiper. Kid fired. Is she an RN or a CNA? I'm not sure which one. I think it's a CNA, but she worked for, like, in a elderly people home, like she hospice, I think. My buddy's mom has not only provided a place for us to party, she also, I'm not gonna say that out loud. Nick, you're crazy. A rough series of events emerged over the years since his death. As the case was investigated, texts were leaked and the details intensely discussed online. Yes, they were. They generally accepted a narrative includes Presgrove being dirty after the ATV accident and being helped to shower by Carter and another partygoer, Jasmine Milan, because of how drunk he was. Presgrove soon after argued with Avery, whom some friends claim he was hooking up with at the time. After he asked to sleep in her bed, and she refused and told him he had to sleep on the floor. She told him he couldn't sleep in her bed because he messed with her friend the night before. Jack told a friend last year. The argument upset Presgrove after he wandered off into the night to cool off and never to be seen alive again. Jack, in Facebook messages, explained to a friend his own argument with Presgrove. We argued about girls for a second and then ended up holding each other and crying and telling each other how much we meant to one another. What? This is the picture. This is the Snapchat. Well, Noah's missing. 3:41 a.m. You remember? Oh my God! If you've been following me on this case, this is a big part of my deep dive. Big part, and it still is. I don't care how much attention they pay to her in this lawsuit. The lawsuit added that at least some partygoers realized Presgrove was gone at 3:41 a.m. The 3:41 a.m. timing is a reference to a selfie Jasmine posted to Snapchat with the caption, "Well, Noah's missing." Presgrove was found at 5:43 a.m. according to both police and the lawsuit, naked and with some of his teeth scattered around his body. He was spotted by an Oklahoma Petroleum Allies hauler. Now, that's the first time we've heard that. Where did the truck driver work? Oh, don't even get me started on the truck driver thing, because, oh, baby, you gonna get me going. What? There was two different trucks at two different times. That's all two completely different things. So, okay, now we got a Petroleum Allies hauler driver at Gulf Mark Energy Field, supervisor Tyler Hardy, both of whom called 911 minutes later. Okay, so you see that? A oil hauler driver that they don't name and Gulf Mark Energy Field supervisor Tyler Hardy. So two different 911 calls, and supposedly, according to the Facebook groups, both callers were named Tyler. Okay. Jack claimed he happened upon the scene about 6 a.m. as he left to go fishing with his father, Caleb, whom he called at 6:05 a.m. I figured maybe he got a ride or something. Noah's done that before, got mad and left, he told the Daily Mail last year. He was not one you usually worry about. I wasn't really thinking about it. This timeline is disputed by party goer Caden Pressey. And we over here love Caden Pressey. Caden Pressey's story has never changed. He came out at the very beginning and said, hey, this is wrong. Somebody's lying. And the police brushed him off. He had to go out of his way to get them to interview him months later, and they have done nothing with the information he provided. He gave his phone data. I back Caden Pressey and his mother to the fullest extent of whatever that's worth. It's coming from me. Tyler Hudman is the other Tyler? I haven't heard that. I have to look into that. Caden Pressey, who claimed he was woken up at 5:15 by Jack bursting through the door at 5 o'clock, or no, what did it say? At 5:15 a.m. Let's listen to it.
On account of how important it is to be smart with your money, because you worked hard for it.
2 hours later, Jack Newton busts through the door saying Noah is dead. Noah is dead, guys. Like, frantic. I could almost see he was tearing up. Mm-hmm. And so he burst back out the door immediately. And I look at my phone because it felt like I just went to sleep. Right. And it was 5:15. Mm-hmm. And so I wake up Isaac, Mikey, and Brylan. Isaac, Mikey, and Brylan, yeah. And we all load up in my red Jeep Cherokee and go down to where Noah was.
So let me just stop it right there. I want to make sure I'm clear, right? So Jack, you said burst through the door, went through the door, said that Noah's dead, right?
Yes, sir.
And so that woke you up.
Yeah, him, because he like slammed through the door.
Right.
He said stuff like that.
So when you left the party house, you turned left.
Yeah, I turned left to go back towards Duncan.
Gotcha.
And so we get out of the vehicle, so we all get out, and Jack steps out of his vehicle, just sits there and stares at Noah, and the service truck driver walks up towards Jack. They start talking. I never did see the semi-truck driver.
Okay.
But I go to walk up towards Noah, and he's wearing black shorts, which you can see in the videos from the party house. The same black shorts that he was wearing are the ones he was wearing when he was on the side of the road. And he had one of my shoes on. Oh, I forgot to mention that. When we woke up, we spent about 2-3 minutes looking for my other shoe.
Right.
And we leave because I can't find it, so I just go one shoe. And we get there. We got out of the vehicle, all that crap. And I go walk up towards Noah. There he is, laying there, all contorted. And so I go walk back towards my vehicle, and Isaac was bawling his eyes out. And so I give him a hug and tell him it's going to be okay. And I go to open my trunk or my hatch to get out this blue shop blanket I had. And right as I was walking back towards that Noah, we got told to leave. But I did not remember who told us to leave.
Okay. So, and we'll talk about what happened after that, right, in here in a minute. But So you load up in your Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And we back up, make a U-turn.
So hold on. Yeah. Who's in your Jeep with you?
Isaac, Mikey, and Brylan.
Okay. And then you leave the driveway, you go this way, and then you show up. When you say you got out of the vehicle and you saw Noah, where were you at whenever you saw him?
All right, so I'll explain it like this. So semi-truck's right here.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine like semi-truck, and then Noah, I'd say about 20 feet in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Noah, the body is lined up with Jack's truck, and then the service truck is in front of Jack, and then we parked behind him. So I'd probably say here to that door, away from Noah when we originally got out of our vehicles. And I walked up to him, probably got 5, maybe 10 feet away from him, and start walking back, console Isaac, and go to grab my blanket out to throw over him because I didn't want them staring at him, because I know how that can be on some people's minds. It can mess with them for a long time. And he also didn't deserve to be laying out there in the open like that. So I go to throw a blanket over him. Whereas I get about halfway back to him, we got told to leave. And we back up. We all load back up in my vehicle. Jack stays there with the person. And we go back up, make a U-turn, go back to the house. Go back inside. You can hear the girls crying in the back room. And
they stayed at the house.
Yeah, they stayed at the house.
Okay.
So from the people that were at the party, from my knowledge, we were the only ones that seen Noah. Isaac, Mikey, Brylan, and Jack and me. And they stay there at the scene, and we go back to the house, go back to our spots where we were originally sleeping and sit down, and they are all like sitting there like thinking like this for a couple minutes, and they all go back to sleep. Like nothing just happened.
So who is they?
They is Isaac, Mikey, and Brylan. They all go back to sleep. And I don't know what to do at the moment. So I turn on the TV to try to get it out of my mind of what I just seen. And I watch TV for, I'd say about 30 minutes to maybe an hour. Because whenever we left, it was pitch black.
Mm-hmm.
And so girls start coming out of the room. Their boys are still asleep. We watch TV, and Renee Millen, Jasmine's mother, and her husband, and Stephanie Millen and her boyfriend show up to the house. And this was right as it started getting dawn. I mean, like whenever the sun started coming up, like you couldn't see the sun, but you could see outside. Like,
for a second.
From what everyone's saying on the group.
That's fine. So you're pretty certain that Jack came through the door at 5:50?
I'm 100% positive.
Okay. And I'm okay with that. So how long? So Jack comes to the door at 5:15, and then he leaves the house again to go back to the scene, correct?
Yes.
How long can you estimate between the time that Jack came through the door at 5:15 and you arrived on the scene?
Oh, we probably got there around 5:20, 5:25.
And it was dark?
It was completely dark. Yes, sir.
And Noah's wearing black shorts?
Yes, sir.
And you said that his body was contorted. Can you explain that to me? What do you mean by contorted?
So whenever I get there, his body, he's laying, his hips. All right, so I'm going to try to explain this best I can. So his legs he's on his side, right? And his chest is face down towards the ground. And his head is facing towards the grass.
Okay.
So he would be facing towards not towards the party house, but like that way. You know what I'm talking about?
Towards the shoulder.
Yeah, towards the
the
shoulder, not the.
Not the road.
Yeah, not the road.
Yep.
And his arm, one of his arms was behind his back, and one was like this.
Okay.
And his legs were like one leg was right here and the other one was like this.
And how close did you get to the car?
5-10 feet.
And you said you were wearing black shorts.
Yes, sir.
Did you observe anything else in the roadway?
No.
Blood? Any
That's the thing. I didn't see any blood.
any car parts?
Nothing.
Just Noah.
Just Noah. Noah, when he's drunk, he's real flirty with anyone, any type of woman. So he, from my knowledge, he was messing with Avery at the time.
Mhm.
They were having sex and crap like that, from what I know. And I'd say Saturday night, Noah falls asleep on the ground in the living room with Logan. They didn't do anything, but they fall asleep on the ground, and I wake up and I remember hearing Avery saying something to Logan. It's like, man, if y'all did anything, I was going to kill y'all. And yeah, they laughed it off.
Right, but nothing.
Nothing happened.
And when you say they fell asleep on the ground or the floor, was it in the bedroom or
No, it was
in the living room?
It was in the living room, yeah.
Okay. And did you fall asleep in there too?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And that was Saturday night.
Yeah.
You know, I would hope.
Okay, so that was a little bit of Caden, what Caden said in that interview that no, Logan is a girl, Nick. Oh, okay, Miss Lynn DJ. I look forward to looking over it. Logan is a girl, yeah. This is Logan. I'll scroll back up for you, Nick. That's Jasmine. That's Avery. That's Logan. That's Logan Jernigan. That's Caden Pressey. This is Tyler Hardy and his wife, the one of the 911 callers. So Jack Newton burst through the door saying Noah is dead, like frantic, tearing up, he told detectives in a leaked recording of a June 21st interview. Pressey also claimed when he followed Jack to the body, Presgrove had black shorts on, in contrast to being naked with a pair of white shorts on the road nearby. Since the Daily Mail's initial coverage of Presgrove's death last April incited global media attention, thousands of true crime enthusiasts have flocked to the Facebook groups and Reddit to endlessly discuss the case. Yeah. Many of them are convinced Presgrove was murdered and his body dumped on the road, especially given the lack of blood at the scene. They have hailed the lawsuit, filing a huge step towards justice for Presgrove, despite the lack of evidence of foul play so far. Okay, so I'm going to pull up some of my old videos just to show you. Okay, I have a play. Actually, it's got 41 videos of it, my playlist of Noah. Okay, I gotta sort them right. Okay. Okay. Do this full screen. Okay. So I'll just read it to you. We won't spend a lot of time on it, but these are the key parts. And I made this video 11 months ago. Okay. Saturday, September 2nd, 2023, the party begins. Argument with Jack Newton results in pushing, slapping, and fish hooking, allegedly. Noah gets written on with permanent marker. And while everyone was sleeping, Colton Newton and Travis Monsoon and some other tall, skinny kid, don't know his name, came back to the house and took all the beer from the fridge and the coolers. Caden woke up and seen them. And this is screenshots of the conversation with Jack Newton. The purple is whoever's talking to Jack said, just curious, what did you and Noah get into an argument about, though? Just to clear the air. Jack Newton says, when? The person messaging says, earlier. He says, Jack says, that day? He says, the person in response, just heard y'all got in an argument. Just curious what it was about. Jack says, we didn't argue that day. The person says, that weekend? May have been Saturday. Jack says, but the day before we argued about girls for like a second and then end up holding each other and crying and telling each other how much we care for one another. Okay. Sunday, September 3rd, 2023, Sunday morning. Caden was left at the party house with Logan, Avery, Carter, and Jasmine, while Jack, Brylan, Isaac, and Noah went back to Dunkin' to grab more beer. I guess that's when Jack bought the beer in Napoli's. So he must know somebody that owns a store that'll let him get alcohol on the side because he wasn't 21 either. But went back to Dunkin' to grab more beer and do some other stuff. They, as in Caden and the girls, watched movies at the house for a little while, and then they went and returned a carpet cleaner at the dollar store and bought more beer because Avery is 21 because it was her 22nd birthday, remember? So, before dark, Caden, Jack, and Isaac, Brylan, and Noah went riding on the side by side on the back roads, country road, dirt road, shooting random shit, quote unquote. They headed back to the party house right before dark and jumped a culvert on the side of the road, and they jumped it, and allegedly, according to Caden, no one got hurt. No one got hurt. My bad if that sounded like Noah got hurt. No one got hurt. Everybody was fine after this incident. Sunday, September 3rd, Jack Newton calls and texts Noah. Noah agrees to go back. See, that wasn't mentioned until after. Apparently Jack and Noah got in a little bit of an argument or whatever while they were out, and because Noah ended up at home for half the day, and he showered and ate something, and I think he took a nap and woke up to Jack blowing up his phone, telling like, "Man, come back to the party! Man, come back to the party!" So, as I've said the whole time, there's animosity that's building over the weekend between Noah and Jack. And I done my own research and found out in my own, I reached out to people on my own and I talked to people behind the scenes, and I won't mention the girl's name. If you follow me, you were on my live stream when she messaged me back. I did it live when I got the information, but there was something going on between Noah and Jack before the party. Jack slept with Noah's ex-girlfriend, and I believe that's why she's an ex, because of this whole situationship. And in my opinion, from what I gathered and what I know to be true behind the scenes, I think Noah was getting back at Jack and maybe flirting with Carter, and just getting in his head like, if I was a piece of shit like you, I would do it to you. And I think the thought from Jack that Noah could have slept with Avery or Carter, if he wanted to. That thought, I think, was escalating, and the alcohol, it built up. I talked to the ex-girlfriend, and she told me that Noah was hurt by the fact that Jack asked him on several occasions that hey man, did you sleep with my girlfriend, or did you sleep with my ex-girlfriend, whatever, and Jack denied it. So honestly, I think Noah was just letting Jack know, like, hey, if I wanted your bitch, I could have her, because you can see in the videos and pictures from that night, Carter was all over Noah that night. She didn't want nothing to do with Jack, and I think if Noah applied himself, oh, hi, Justin. Okay, or there more than an argument. Avery claimed on 2 separate occasions that she would kill Noah, especially after he called her a fat, nasty bitch on her birthday. That really made her mad. Justin, y'all know him. Y'all have seen him on the podcast. He knew Noah personally, and I'll just leave it at that. And he's been the biggest warrior advocate, spokesperson for Noah on the Facebook groups. He's kept, just like Michael, he's kept the information, people talking about it, asking the questions that no one wants to ask, bringing stuff to light and keeping the misinformation separated. So big shout out to him. Yeah, and that's exactly right. He said, this is why I know Noah wasn't trying to sleep in Avery's bed. Exactly, because he apparently already had Avery and maybe wasn't too fond of it. Avery was the last girl on Noah's mind at that party, because I mean, I'm going to keep my comments to myself, but he told her how he felt about her in his own words. So To go further into, okay, let's just keep it on schedule. Okay. Sunday, September 3rd. I'm not gonna name names because, like I said, I think that's why there is some unidentified subjects in the lawsuit, because I think those were the minors that were involved. Even though they might not be minors right now, they were minors when it happened. So, and with as far as legality goes, they can't name them because they were minors at the time. And I think, personal opinion, I am not a professional. Do your own research for your own opinions. I think Mikey and Brylan had way more to do with it than people think. I've heard several stories from several different people off the record. Hi, Hotspot. That Mikey had a lot of problems after it, and he said some things to some people that I don't know if are credible, so I'm not gonna quote it verbatim. I'm just saying, like, the stories that I've heard, it fits. Everybody. What started out between Jack and Noah, I think people jumped in, and I think how it was worded at the beginning of the lawsuit, they didn't intend to kill him, but they intended to beat his ass, and that resulted in being taken too far, and Noah got hurt, and I don't think they tried to help him at all. I think they tried to cover their tracks every minute after that. And I think parents were involved at the very beginning. I think everybody called their parents, and I think they all should be in that lawsuit. No, he didn't. Not alive. I absolutely agree with that, Justin. I don't think he got beat and walked and fell in the road, because that makes no sense. If you got a head contusion, you don't get up. Like, he's not gonna walk a half a mile and put himself in the fetal position and take his clothes off, and you know that is not even, just when you say that out loud, I feel ignorant for even saying something like that out loud. Like, that is just not even probable, even a likely scenario in my opinion. But like I said, I'm not a professional. Do your own research and form your own opinions. Justin, has anybody searched the house property? Well, that is a big debate, because the ones on the other side say, oh yeah, he came in and went in the house and found Noah's clothes in the bathroom floor. But the police say that they never went in the property. They searched around the property for car parts. Let me not say the car parts, vehicle parts or ATV parts. They, according to what they being the police, have gone on record and said they just searched around it. They didn't. They said they had no probable cause to go in the house, because he wasn't found on the property. He was found dead on the highway. That's been the OHP's thing. Oh, probable cause, probable cause. Okay, well, my idea of probable cause and their idea of probable cause is way different, because when he was found dead and left there, and that was the last place he was seen alive on those videos, Snapchat videos, that should have been all the probable cause you need. That was the last place he was alive. Let's go and take a look what he was leaving. If it was such a bad scenario, there's, as an investigator, which I am not, you would think that would be the first place to go look, because that's where everything was happening. And that's where he left. He was last seen alive there. So that's where you would start, in my humble opinion. And now, 2 years later, what evidence is going to be left now? Denied consent at door, denied knowing dead kid on the road is what I read. Video of Noah's family interview. Yep. But then when you ask them, the ones that denied consent at the door, they said they gave the police consent, and the police came in and they found nothing and they closed the case. Or the other time they said, oh, they didn't ask to go in. They never asked. That the door has been always been open. Yeah, Michael's right. I think there's probably 20 different stories on if they searched the house. They did it. Yeah. And what's up for debate is why they didn't. Regardless, if people had done their jobs and not let personal relationships and favoritism and liking someone else and disliking somebody else come into their investigation and kept it strictly professional and followed procedures and standards that every other agency has to hold up to, we would be talking about a whole different case right now. Like, seriously. Law enforcement dropped the ball on this case immensely. And I don't care who feels what about it. I'm entitled to my own opinion as I sit up here as my own person on my own channel with my own platform. Get it how you live. Prove me different. Like, yep. I've never been in law enforcement investigator, but I've been around it and have been family members that are. The house should have been searched. You're absolutely right. Is it true Caleb took one ATV home and cops checked out a different ATV? I don't know, but the way I heard it about the ATV is Caleb came and loaded it up and was in the middle of loading it up when the trooper got on scene, and they took it from him, and I believe supposedly searched it or whatever, took it to the wherever they go and look at stuff, and then gave it back to him like with that evening or the next morning is the way I heard it. Released it back to Caleb, and not enough time for it to been forensically and searched or whatever. The staging of hit and run scenario caused the rest of his injuries. In my opinion, I think that's when they really ran him over to make it look real. Huh. You know, that could explain the drag, like the road rash. That's really a good theory. I mean, look at what. Oh yeah, I know, cousin. This is the one reason that I got into it with OHP, because they called it suspicious. Yeah, they did not search the last place he was alive. I'd be furious if I lived in that area. Jefferson County corruption. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Okay. I want to really focus on Jack because he was the main one this whole time. Everybody, if you've been here, like, nothing that Jack says sits right with me. The emotions don't match his words. His words change regardless. Every time he's asked a question, he answers it different the next time someone asks him, whether it's a week apart, whether it's a month apart. Nothing is consistent about anything he says. The other ones just don't say nothing and have their mom come and fight for them. And God knows she can tell a story a mile long, and she's just comfortable getting up there and saying whatever. Oh, I wasn't there. I don't know nothing, but I won't shut up and let anybody talk for themselves, because she knows if they get asked some hard questions by anybody with common sense, they're going to fumble on their words. They're going to slip up. They're going to let something slip. That's why she protects them. They're grown. Her kids are grown. Talking about my kids. They're able-bodied adults, and they hosted the party. Very possible that ATV was swapped out, or the Texas boys had their ATV out there and went back way home where no camera saw them. What state was this case? It's been a while since I've heard about him. It was in Oklahoma Racing Stars. Jefferson County, Oklahoma. Yes. It was about September will make 2 years. Labor Day weekend. He's a spoiled rich little kid. Yes, he is. He is. Wondering if police and fire department will be in lawsuit as well. I think they should. Well, I think I got to tread lightly on that. Jack did this to Noah, in my opinion. He's raging, jealous, fool, just what I gather from his arrogance. In my opinion, Jasmine knows exactly what happened. Oh, yes. She was the main one that knew because of that Snapchat. That Snapchat is what the timeline, something happened at or before 3 o'clock that morning. And that's conveniently when everybody else's Snapchat went silent and everybody deleted everything at the same time before daylight, but they didn't know anything. Okay, if you knew he was missing, why are you smiling? And why does your hair look wet? And why are you smiling? I think that's the time that everything went down. When everything went black, that's when everything went down. And I don't doubt the thing that the lawsuit opened up with. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I don't think whatever happened to Noah was intentional, like, hey, I'm going to kill you. But I think some drunk, hormone raging young men that were jealous and had been building tension through the whole weekend, and the way Noah was just nonchalant, just macking on all the girls, and they are all jealous because the girls were giving Noah attention. I think something happened. I think something caused Jack to snap, honestly. And I think they were fighting, and this is my opinion. I think Noah was getting the better of him, and he called his buddies in, and they jumped in, and I think golf clubs were used, and that's just my personal opinion because I've done my own research on the injuries and what to make his head look like. I compared it to the autopsy report. Y'all all can remember it. Y'all all were here. That's just my theory, and that's the most likely scenario in my head because no teenage boys are going to fuck him up like that with their fist. No. And then the whole golf club things that they turned up on the scrap pile around Christmas time, a couple months later, and it's all just sketchy as F. They didn't one girl give the cops? No, I believe the Carter gave her phone, but it was factory data resetted. It had nothing on it. It was just a reset phone when she turned it in. That if I'm remembering that correctly. Y'all got to think I'm a little fuzzy, had brain surgery and all. So I've been slowly going over my old files and trying to get the details and coming back to me a little, but for the most part I got it all still on standby, but the little parts I got to go back and refresh my memory. Too many accidental factory resets on the phone. Yep, I do believe Carter has the cue and took Jack over the edge. Yes. And yes. Freaking Noah's golf clubs are still missing. They were not in the back of. They were not in his Bronco that was at his grandma's, and they were never retrieved. And several people, Caden was the only one that went public, said that Noah came to the party with golf clubs and they were using them. When they would go out and go shooting, they would be hitting golf balls and hitting rocks into the field. That's been established way in the beginning. And still to this day, Dalen, Noah's aunt, Noah's grandma, those golf clubs have never been talked about again, and they have never, more importantly, they have never been found, never been located. So good. Did they ever find Noah's other shoe? Publicly, no, but I don't know what mess has been on behind the scenes. I've heard rumors that they cut his shirt up and handed it out amongst each other as mementos, but then Jack turned around and said that wasn't true. So, there's so many stories on the Facebook groups by people and players that are involved that keep throwing stuff out to keep people spinning out and getting further from the truth. It is crazy. It is crazy. And law enforcement, as far as I'm concerned, if they have any kind of investigative bone in their body, they're capable of sweeping through the shit and reading through the shit and comparing it to previous statements, just like you and I do. It shouldn't probable cause be you tell one story and then tell it again with details different the next time. Isn't that like contradicting and make you a suspect? Because if you lie on record to the Daily Mail and People magazine and that doesn't match what they came and gave you as a sworn statement, doesn't that give you maybe just the itch to look further? I still, to this day, don't even know if Jack really took a lie detector test or not. He went on the news and said he did, but I've never seen nobody with a badge or that administered it to back his plates. Like, yeah, we gave him a lie detector test and he passed. I've never seen that anywhere. Galen just wants them back. Yeah, right, because Galen is the older brother that gave Noah the golf clubs as a gift. So he just wants him back so that he can feel close to his brother. But everybody all acts like they just disappeared. They vanished. And if they vanished, why did they vanish if they wasn't used in as involvement in his death? You could just give them up. Hey, they felt the need to get the guns out of the house before the police got there, get the minors out of the house before the police could get there, and they were cleaning up all the beer cans. So they had to feel some type of culpability or guiltiness on somewhere, because why would you, if the guns weren't used, that's just weird. Why did you get rid of them? It almost makes you think, like, hold up, did something happen with the guns and golf clubs? Why they were out being silly? Like, there's so many theories that could fit and that could be a possibility, because his injuries are so bad. They could have been from the butt of a rifle, butt of a gun, and a golf club. Who knows? Maybe they were just hitting them with anything they could get their hands on, and they had guns in the back of the ATV, and they had golf clubs in the back of the ATV. Maybe he did really leave walking and they ran up behind him on the ATV and jumped off and jumped him. I mean, who knows? We know that he didn't lose his life where his body was found because there's no blood. There's a big puddle of blood somewhere on that property. I guarantee you it was, because you don't get those kind of injuries and not bleed, especially the head injuries. There is a lot of blood somewhere that somebody missed. Where are the pieces of his shirt? I don't know. No problem, Feeble. I don't want you to have a panic attack. Why would Ellie allow them to pass around Noah's items like they were so proud of themselves? I have so many questions why Ellie did what they did on this case. It is not even funny. Like, first of all, they didn't secure the crime scene, and I'm not meaning crime as in like he was murdered. Like, it's the fact that he was on the side of the road dead. They didn't even cut it off access where that people that were not EMS and not investigators, not the medical examiner, that were stomping all around the scene for hours before they shut it down. People's parents, the kids from the party, Jack, his dad, nothing about it was professional. She was on here earlier. Okay, Miss W, I missed her. They got rid of everything. Why do that for just a hit and run and just an accident? Exactly. You only behave in that way and react in that way if you have a guilty conscience of something. And to have not even known he was dead on the side of the road, that's a weird response. Is get rid of everything. Destruction of evidence, obstruction of justice just for the shirt and teeth evidence. Exactly. American Honey did Cut and Shoot do a show last night. Yeah, Cut and Shoot was in here earlier. She popped in, and I'm surprised because, like you said, it's Wednesday. We all know Cut and Shoot is very busy on Wednesdays. So, again, let me switch gears over to one that is more focused on Jack. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna mute myself and let you hear. This live stream was 2 months ago, but when I did the highlights version, I did the original stream back last April. Okay, and this was all things I had to say about Carter, Jack. Okay, the question to Jack was okay. Now this I screenshotted because of the date. Okay, the date that these message that I'm referring to. Okay, you can't see it. It's really small, but it's right here where my mouse is. It says May the 11th at 12:06 a.m. Okay, the question to Jack was there a second autopsy done? Jack's That's a good point, Justin. Hold on. Let me read this from chat. Also, an ambulance was never called. Why was an ambulance not called, and how did they know that he was already dead at that time? I can't think of a better question than that. I don't think an ambulance was ever on scene. It was just uh, off-duty firefighters, should I say? If that's the volunteer firefighters at that, okay. They weren't on duty at the time, okay? And the Jefferson County Sheriff and Trooper Wright got there last, but no ambulance. I don't think anybody got there. The medical examiner was even late getting there. So there was nothing done to save, quote unquote, save his life because everybody involved already knew he was dead. How did they know that if they just stumbled upon him? Wouldn't you administer CPR or try something or let a professional try that? But great point, Justin. You really just get my wheels turning. You asked all the right questions, and he's been that way from the beginning. And he's lives locally. He's a lot closer to this than any of us. He knows the ins and outs, and he's definitely been there every step of the way through this investigation, and he's been the loudest advocate on Facebook and everywhere else he could get people to listen on how he feel Noah's case has been treated. And this is definitely a travesty. It's a tragedy in the points that he lost his life in the terrible, horrific, and violent way that he did. But on top of it, to have it mocked and overlooked and underlooked all the other way, it's just disrespectful. It's just putting salt in the wound, and to have known Noah like Justin did, and like we all didn't get the chance to. Noah was a just bright light. He I know nobody deserves to die, and it's cliche to say when people die they are gone too soon, but he was really a light, just a person that didn't deserve it. And I know I sound cliche, but you just see pictures out of it and just see his smile, and it was so contagious. Like, you just can't help but, like, if you would have met him, you'd know that he'd have made an impact on your life in a positive way. So let's get back to Jack's suspicious behavior. Response to that is that May. Okay, now this I screenshotted because of the date. Okay, the date that these message that I'm referring to. Okay, you can't see it. It's really small, but it's right here where my mouse is. It says May the 11th at 12:06 a.m. Okay, the question to Jack was there a second autopsy done? Jack's response to that is that May 11th at 12:06 a.m. He says, he being Jack, I don't know. I didn't think the autopsy was coming out until the 13th. So this is on the 11th. The fucking autopsy very much so did come out on May the 13th. So how the fuck did you know when it was going to be released and what the fuck it contained before then. You got released the fucking autopsy before the public or the family did? We got big problems. Somebody's got some explaining to do. I don't even want to know how. I want to know fucking why. Make that make sense. I'll wait. You see the date here? May the 11th. So a whole 2 days before it was released, he knew it was going to be released and what day it was going to be released. And he was absolutely correct. It was fucking released on the 13th as planned. How does he know that? Why does he know that? When did he become aware of that? Who made him aware of that? Naughty, naughty, naughty. I digress. My video. But it is very important. Now this. Justice for Noah, okay? This is Jeremy Wilkes has on then to the I said what I said. Sue me. Ain't gonna get blood out of a turnip. Run it. And defamation of character and slander would mean that importance to me because this is Noah's aunt, and she says the first official on the scene was a volunteer firefighter, Avery Carter's grandfather, Bub Wilcoxon. To be specific, another volunteer firefighter on scene is related to JM, which is Jasmine Millen. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Okay, let's go over this again. What that means, what that says, okay, let's just break it down sentence for sentence. The first official, okay, not the first person, because that's a whole nother debate. Truck driver 1, truck driver 2, Jackie Poo, who fucking knows at this point because everybody lies. Okay, the first official on the scene was a volunteer Terrell firefighter, Bub Wilcoxon, Avery and Carter's grandpa, Stevie's stepfather, and the property owner. But he wasn't on the scene officially, okay? The first official on scene unofficially, okay? He wasn't in the fire station and heard it on the dispatch. He got woke up by his whoever. I'm not going to accuse one person, but he got woke up, according to Stevie, by the ranch hand. And he was on the first person on scene. Okay? Make that make sense. And as a volunteer firefighter, you didn't call it into your radio? And maybe make it an emergency? And put EMS en route? The only way that they would not put EMS en route is because he knew Noah was dead before anybody else. So, another volunteer firefighter was on scene related to Jasmine. So everybody that is not at work and not listening to a dispatch gets notified by who the fuck knows and are on the scene before anybody officially arrives and do what? They don't help Noah. They don't try to save his life. They don't do CPR. They don't call anybody else until way later, at least an hour later, before anybody on paper arrived, which was a trooper, right? And I was told that the sheriff, the Jefferson County Sheriff, Mr. Jeremy Wilson, who you all know I can't stand, was there unofficially too. So who were they in this fucking group chat? The unofficial useless men that arrived and did what? They didn't try to save his life. They didn't fucking try to conceal the scene. Okay, you can't tell me as a volunteer firefighter and as the sheriff that you don't have training in how to handle a death and make sure it's treated like it should be. Oh, come on in. Bring your dad, bring your wife. Come on in. Just stomp all around. And this dead kid everybody knows they aren't affected by it. Jack still tells the story and don't cry a tear. And they're best friends since preschool? That's cold-blooded. I wouldn't even be able to say his name without breaking down. I get in my moods like that when I get into these details of the case. I still cry about it sometimes, and I didn't even know the kid. You were my best friend since preschool, and you don't even shed a tear when you talk about him dying? That makes no sense, and that doesn't sit well with me. It never has, and it never will. You can't tell me that you wouldn't be affected by that. Even if you didn't know him, if you seen him on the side of the road, and as horrific as people that seen it said it was, you gotta be a zombie to not be affected by that and to just tell the story with no remorse. Look his family in the face with no remorse. Hug them like you did something for him that night. Regardless if you had a hand in it, and you ain't going to convince me that Jack didn't have a hand in it at this point, that you couldn't jump in and help your boy. Scratch and sniff stickers for a badge, I guess. When I had 2 broken ribs, I thought of Noah horrible when he went. Exactly. And when you put all of his injuries on the same paper, it takes my breath away, you know? Like that aspect of it, I try to stay away from because it is horrific. The amount of pain that he had to have sustained to have all those injuries at the same time. I just pray to God that he was unconscious very early on in whatever happened and he didn't suffer, because those injuries, that's not an accident. He didn't get that way on accident. Maybe, like Justin said, that's the first thing I've heard that I may be willing to take some of the chips off of what I was all in on and maybe go half and half with, because maybe they beat him up or whatever, they got in a fight and it got taken too far, and then he was bad off, and then the rest of the injuries maybe he sustained by them trying to cover up, and maybe they actually hit him. That I can hang my hat on that one, and I think that's the only other one I'd be willing to even slide my chips behind, because the evidence and the facts I believe that he could have got those injuries by being moved, and exactly them trying to go over the top to convince the public and make it look like it was a hit and run. And I don't think it went well, because he was probably already gone when they tried to do it, and to convince somebody that he was hit walking, you would have to have him standing up, and they probably ran over him while he's laying down, and that's why their evidence isn't matching up. I'm putting a little more thought into it as I'm going along, and that really makes a lot of sense to me. That honestly, I may put all of my chips in that basket. by the end of this live stream, because I'm convincing myself more and more as I say it out loud, like that really makes sense. And to go a step further and say, okay, you got to try to put yourself in the mindset of these drunk kids, okay? That's exactly what their little dumbasses would think. Oh, we just got to run him over and leave him on the highway, and they'll just think he got hit. If not, my daddy's got such and such in his back pocket, and the Wilcoxons and the Combs got such and such in their back pocket. It'll never see the light of day. Nobody will investigate it. We're good. We could go back to the party house and go back to sleep like they all did, except the girls. They were in the back room crying about what? What were you crying about? You didn't even know it happened until Jack came bursting through the door. And Jack says, "Where's the God?" That wasn't until 6 o'clock. Even though Caden can tell you, put me on a lie detector test. I know what time I woke up and looked at my phone. But he's not given no credibility. The police won't even go and say, hey, this kid's telling the truth. They just let the internet pick him apart because he came out and told his story, and it never changed. Not once. I've talked to him behind the scenes. That boy's story is solid, regardless of what anybody thinks. Again, my unprofessional opinion. Who are you going to believe? A kid that story never changes, or a kid that story changes every time he's asked about it? Every time Jack tells the story different. Every time Stevie tells the story different. We don't even know how Avery and Carter are telling the story because they're not allowed to talk. But they're grown-ass adults. Mommy's protecting them from something. If they would have been better off not letting Jack talk for himself, because boy, he digs himself in a hole every time he opens his mouth. But he's still at it. Still at it. You have to have a level of confidence to publicly go and, I'm not going to say lie, okay, but to tell different stories that contradict the other and be confident that nothing's gonna happen to you because of that. If any other person did that, went under oath and said one thing and then went on the news and said 10 different things, they would have their ass in a fucking interrogation room. Do the laws and rules and procedures not fucking apply in Oklahoma? Or do they not apply to these certain people in Oklahoma? Like, what the fuck's going on? My sheriff, I live proud citizen of home of the Grady Judd. He would be in a press conference walking the dog on these fools. They'd have been arrested. It had never seen the first year. It had never seen 6 months. You know how many open murder investigations we have where I live? 1. And it's an unsolved murder from like the 70s or the 80s. But it's open case. And I guarantee you, it'll get solved. But we don't have fucking unsolved murders, missing people that just nobody knows what happened, or people that end up dead on the side of the highway and just case just remains open for 20 years. Shit like that don't happen around here. That's why it triggers me so much, because this is not normal. This is not normal. And if that's Jefferson counties or Oklahoma as a whole normal, baby, we need change. That's why I'm here. I'm going to give it to you, and I'm not going to let off. I had to take a break for my own personal reasons. If those of you don't know, or some of you are new, about 4 months ago, I had to have emergency brain surgery from a sinus infection that got really bad. And I'm still recovering from that. I'm still bouncing back. I still got a couple of flukes that, I'm still handling. So that's why I took a leave of absence, because I had to, work on me for a little bit and get my health back up and get to where I could do these live streams. But I'm feeling really good now. I'm feeling really blessed to be here and still be able to deep dive with you guys. And yeah, I don't want to share too much because, people like to cherry pick what I say and exaggerate it and make hard times for me. And, so that's all I'm going to discuss about my personal life for now, but I feel like I owed all of you an explanation for why I was gone for so long. It's not because I wanted to be gone. It's not because, I give up on the case, and nothing in between. It's just I had to take a little time to bounce back, and I'm slowly but surely getting back to my old self. So I'll be doing live streams more frequently. I'm not going to be deep diving every night like I used to, because I got to take time for my family, and I got to take time for me to rest and bounce back. But I will definitely be making this a more frequent thing, and at least 2 or 3 days a week, and try to get on a schedule and just get back into the habit of deep diving. Thank you for all the prayers and not kind words in the chat. You're gonna make me cry. Yeah. It was scary. It was a little rocky for a while, but I made it through it, and I'm gonna be okay. And I'm so glad that you guys are still here, because that's what I was most nervous about. Like, oh, I wonder if they all unsubscribe for me. It's been so long since I went live, and they won't know I'm live. But I'm so glad y'all all found me, and all are here. I appreciate it very much, and I love you all very much, truly from the bottom of my heart. I wouldn't be here without your support and encouragement. You guys and your kind words and telling me, that you watched my videos and I kept you interested, and that all keeps me going. So I appreciate each and every one of you, even if you're watching from the bushes and not in chat. I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate you taking the time to listen, because I know you guys have lives of your own, and I just really appreciate you taking the time to acknowledge me and be on this journey with me, because I couldn't do it without you all. Where are those golf clubs? Bradley, the golf clubs just disappeared. Nobody knows where they are. They know they were at the party. They know they were used throughout the party weekend, but nobody knows where they are, and nobody's looking for them. Yes, you have to take care of you first. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Thank you. I love all of you. Thank you all for your kind words. So enough of that, because I don't want to get emotional, because when I get emotional or upset, it tends to make me stutter more, and I'm trying to keep my speech clear. So we're going to get back to the case, because I'm not going to be live too much longer. We're creeping up on 2 hours, and I don't want people to see a video in like 6 hours and be intimidated and not want to watch. So we're going to keep it short and sweet. I'm going to pace myself and not get too, overworked and overwhelmed, and probably be back tomorrow or the next day, or maybe do something again this weekend. I just really have to see how I'm feeling after this live stream. Thank you, Michael. You're the best. What a welcoming and this wonderful coverage. Breaking news in this case. You definitely take care of yourself. Noah's other shoe is still missing too. Yes, I agree with all that. Thank you, Michael, for sharing it in the Facebooks. I can always count on you to do that. Oh my God, you're gonna. Okay, I gotta stop reading. You guys are gonna make me cry. All right, let's listen. Whoever she's referring to, that is not only Avery's grandfather, but it's also the fucking property owner. So, I digress. Stevie says to whoever she's referring to in this comment, they didn't ask. They just took it. It was they're talking about the side-by-side. She's talking about the side-by-side, sorry. Okay, Bradley. Yes, I actually spoke with Caden's mother about that specifically, and he said he found a golf club. He doesn't know if it was Noah's, because he didn't put 2 and 2 together at this time, because this was around Christmas time, when after the fact, so September to December, September, October, November, like 3 or 4 months later, Caden got asked to help load up some scrap or whatever, because him and Jack were still friends at this time, and it was a scrap pile at Jack's father's business, and they were loading stuff up, and there was a bent up golf club on the scrap pile, and Caden asked Jack if he wanted to scrap it, and I think I don't want to speak on that part, because I'm not remember what exactly Jack said, but yes, there was a golf club that was scrapped, that was bent up, but Caden didn't really pay much attention to it because he didn't know, hindsight being 2020, he would have done things differently if he'd have known. But that did happen. So there is a possibility that was one of the golf clubs. He didn't find a set. It was just one. I think. Yes. Yes, Teresa. It was my daughter and another kid. They drove down the road and back. They assumed he had gotten a ride because they didn't find him. The kids' locations of phones per police software confirm this, so matches with their story. What the fuck do you know about police? What the hell? But yeah, red. I call flag on the play. What the fuck, lady? Why do you know about police software and what phone? I thought you didn't see the phone pings. I thought only Jack did. So now you're being shown investigative information as well. Do tell. Who's showing you this? Is it Jeremy? I digress. Did you hook your phone up to the fancy police software too? Was it like, bring your phone to work day? Fuck my life. Stevie again. She says, after 8 a.m., my dad called her. Her dad is Bub Wilcoxon. She's talking about her sister, Sarah. Okay, so some context on this. Besides what I'm saying on the live stream, I just want to pause it and come live right now. Okay, Stevie Howard is Avery Combs and Carter Combs' mother. Bub Wilcoxon, the property owner, is Stevie's stepfather. He's married to her mother and has been for a long time. So she calls him her dad, but he's not her biological dad. He's her stepfather. Okay. But he is the volunteer firefighter that was allegedly the first one officially on scene, but wasn't on scene officially. Okay. This is Stevie's version of how Bub was made aware and got on scene. So listen to this. And she's LOLing and this shit ain't funny. It ain't funny at all. A kid is dead. And I digress. And I'm pretty sure I lay into her on this live stream, but I just wanted to say live, I stand by all of that shit and I still feel the same way. You can sue me. I'm entitled to my opinion, and I think she's piece of work. All right, Stevie again. She says, after 8 a.m., my dad called her. Her dad is Bub Wilcoxon. She's talking about her sister, Sarah. My dad called her after 7, after our hired hand beat on the door and woke him up. He was getting dressed to go down there. Called her, woke her up. She came to Terrell because I was out of town. So was my other sister with her hubby and family, who's also supposed to be the one of the first on scene, LOL, because this is a laughing matter, bitch. She was the closest at the time. She got to Terrell after 8 or so. Blah, blah, bullshit, blah. That's the thing, says Stevie. I have not attacked. He gave his account and I gave ours. One lady commented intimidating a witness. Okay, so just to give you a little context, Stevie, is talking about Caden giving his account, and I gave ours. She said one lady commented intimidating a witness. LOL. Again, why are you laughing out loud? How so? Yes, for 9 months we have been ridiculed, rumor, and threat. I discredit his statements for the most part because he did already give his to law enforcement 7 months ago. Okay, pause, time out, flag on the play, penalty, whatever. Why is law enforcement telling you who's credible and who's not? First of all, if that came out of a law enforcement that officer, member, whoever, if they got a badge number and they told you that out of their mouth, they need to hang their badge up and go find another fucking hobby. Because that is so unprofessional and so illegal to, even if it's true, to leak that kind of information when you're not telling the family shit to a privileged person in this town, and everybody knows it, to where they can go on a public platform and say this confidently, and you don't show your sorry ass faces and say, hey, this lady's crazy. I don't know where she's getting information, but she's lying. Nobody with a badge, nobody investigating this case is talking to her. They've never done that. They've never shut her up. They've never discredited her. They just let her talk. So is she telling the truth? I don't know what's worse. If she's lying about that, well, that's one problem. But if she's telling the truth and that's happening, we got way fucking more problems than that. You have to be tight-lipped on an investigation because anything that gets out to the public before it gets in front of a judge is inadmissible in court. Do you hear me? Why do you think she's going around screaming and throwing shit out there? Because when it's discussed on a fucking public social media platform, 7 ways to Sunday by everybody and their brother, before it goes to a judge, that is no longer admissible in court. Look it up. Anybody that's been through the court system or knows a little thing about this court system or has watched an episode of fucking Law and Order can tell you that. Anything that gets out is not admissible in court because it's speculated and it's talked about, and you can't get a fair jury because it's tainted. So is that the goal here? Just to throw everything out there so that nothing's admissible in court? If there is ever physical evidence to back any of this shit up, it's already so highly talked about on social media, you can't ever talk about it in court. It'll never see a day in front of the judge? Is that her goal? Is that why she does the crazy shit she's done for the past 2 years? That could be nothing. No other reason makes sense to me. This isn't a mom protecting her child. This is a mom protecting her fucking corrupt livelihood. Her children. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. The fact that they are riddled with guilt and trying to do everything they can to help because they threw the party that ended in this kid's demise because he was given alcohol underage, a lot of it, and fucked with by people that you invited over there, and you didn't help him. Nobody stepped in and was a responsible adult. That's why the landowner is getting sued now, because nobody wants to take accountability. They just want to go on and live their lives like nothing happened. How can you see your friend lose his life and not be affected by that? And just go on like life's normal. You get engaged and break up. I mean, like you're not even affected. I heard from people that live in that county or live in that town, Terrell, that they were partying down at the same place the next weekend after he died. Jack helped carry Noah's casket at his fucking funeral. And they all knew what happened to him. I don't give a fuck what they say or how drunk they were. They know what happened. Last I checked, according to the property records, Catfish, he leased it out. The same day the autopsy was released to the public. As a matter of fact, I did a live stream on it. I remember that very clearly now. The paperwork that said he leased it out to some company, some mining company or whatever, was the paperwork was finalized on the same day the autopsy was released, May 13th or May 15th. I think it was May 13th. As I talk about it and as I hear about it, bits and pieces I remember come back to me. Oh, by the way, Catfish, thank you so much. I got busy earlier, but thank you so much for the Cash App. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. So, sorry, I'm pacing. I got a little hot. I had to go stand in front of the fan for a minute because this shit gets me heated. Oh, it gets me so heated. Oh, so, all right. Oh, let me fast forward it a little bit. All right, let me go to another one. I mean, he might be related to a watcher. I don't know. Okay, I seen somebody in chat say something about this, and I remember I did a live stream on it, so I want to talk about it. Okay, Cash Alsup is accused of putting a camera in the women's bathroom of City Hall. He is one of the volunteer firefighters that responded to Noah's scene. He is also Bubs Wilcoxon's right-hand man. Bub has already bailed him out and got him a lawyer. Allegedly. This is all alleged. I can't prove none of this, but this is something I seen on Reddit. The same lawyer Avery and Carter are using, Andrew Benedict. Okay, you guys, watch this deep dive. I'm going to mute it for a second. Oklahoma's not far from Texas.
Shit.
Oh, that slipped.
He's got a fucking wonky.
It's the For those listening, this is not live. This is a live stream that me and Ruben did a couple months back. We were deep diving a couple different aspects of the case, and we found something very interesting out. So listen, this is old. This is not live. Ruben is not here, so you're going to hear him, but he's not here right now. The sun, damn it. Oh, fucking move away from it. How about that? No, this is the good. I only look good in this light.
A fucking wave of a hair, like I could surf.
I don't know. Yeah, he's like, yeah, it's very out of place where he's at. It's very bizarre.
Is it the sun or what? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know.
I wouldn't want that picture up on there to portray me as the reporter.
I don't think he had a choice.
Right? Miss Lindy J, like his shit was all jacked up, right? Motherfucker, you're better off drawing that shit up on there like some chola and shit. What the fuck?
This is the lawyer representing all them scroungy fucks. Located in Waurika.
The Benedict Law Firm clients, let's see. Let's say how
They're
long
criminal
business.
Let's see. There's Andrew, there's Missy, and there's Nicole, and I'd imagine it's a family tradition, which means it's fucking fucked. And yeah, the two women, they're probably fucking.
I bet.
Yeah, I know. Like, where the fuck they don't have like. Okay, let's see. Let's look at your LinkedIn, boo boo. Managing partner at the Benedict Law Firm. Damn, they don't
If
have.
they haven't been in business for a long ass fucking time.
Okay, here we go. Managing 4 years and 2 months.
Oh. Oh no.
Oh god, 4 years and 2 months. July 2020, when COVID came.
They just got out of fucking school.
Oh wait, are you for real? How old are they?
Yeah. We'll go down and
see.
it says graduated right there.
Oh, no fucking way. Hold on. 2006 to 2000.
What in the actual fuck?
Nothing to see. Nothing on LinkedIn.
I mean, somehow they're related to the DA, is what they heard. Well,
Who said that?
No shit.
Who said that? Wait. Who said that?
Hummingbird.
Oh, no shit. Do you live in Oklahoma too, Hummingbird? I know Jam Sandwiches does.
Gov. Stit Baxum.
Oh, look, we got payroll. Oh my god! Shut the fuck up. What does that say? So, have y'all caught it yet? Hold on, because I'm about to break it down to Ruben. But pay attention to that name, because I just said that was the lawyer that represented Cash, Carter, and Avery, okay? Now listen to this shit. Okay? What the fuck does that say?
State of Oklahoma?
No, right here.
Oh, Assistant District Attorney. No, fuck me. Gosh damn, they know how to play this shit up straight up.
No, I don't think he was related to the DA. He used to fucking be the DA. Goddamn. Oh my god.
No fucking way. This motherfucker is the Assistant District Attorney.
No, he was in 2018. I don't know if he still is. I don't know if he still is.
Motherfucker still is. I mean,
No. Okay, listen. Andrew Seabent worked as the Assistant District Attorney for the state of Oklahoma, and in 2018 had a reported pay of $75,301.02, and a pay frequency of monthly, according to public record. God damn!
What?
No.
In fucking Oklahoma, in some podunk fucking town.
Hold on. This is 8.5% higher than the average pay for state employees and 5.0% higher than the national average for government employees. What the fuck?
Damn!
See what I told you about the fucking paper trail? This is public record! Fuck me. I don't even know if I want to click it. Like, I feel like it's going to make my stomach hurt. Oh my god, here we go. Okay, here we go.
I'm scared for us all. And
I know. Okay.
That fucking...
He got hired in 2012. In payroll year 2018. What the fuck's that mean? Oh god. Oh god. Information may include pay, salary, bonuses, benefits, retirement contributions, pensions, and other financial data. Oh god. Oh god. Okay. 75,301.02 monthly.
Monthly.
Oh
my god. What is, let me do the calculations real quick. What is that a fucking year? Son of a bitch!
Oh my god, he's still there!
That's not very nice to him, Mama, but hello.
2020, 2019, 20. Look, you. Oh my god. What is this? Co-workers and other employees. What the fuck? Who is that? 2020. Assistant District Attorney.
Hummingbird, legal conflicts of interest. Dude.
I don't know that I could. I stopped counting my when I ran out of fingers. I can only count. Oh my god. Oh my god. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Agency code 220. I feel like I should write that down for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm going to write it down. Job title: Assistant District Attorney. Hours worked: 1,204. How do you work 0.63 hours? Whatever. I digress. Pay type: U. What does that mean?
monthly 52,000.
What the fuck? Okay, now he's got other work. Oh my god. Look at his fucking associates. Programs, field representative, law enforcement for highway patrol. Cook 1, programs, child welfare specialist. Manager of application support. What the
What
fuck
is
is
their
happening
pay?
here? The highway. What happens when you go fishing?
Jesus.
I wasn't even looking.
His face said they could look it up. I'm scared to look.
I know, right? Wait, where's the fucking amount?
You know what the fuck?
Uh,
They don't get paid.
oh yeah, that's bizarre. I'm not buying that. I'll fucking make a point to find it now. Don't fucking play me. Here we go. Homie, don't play that shit. Okay. Monthly. Why pay type C? Why the other one say U? What does that mean? Oh my god, get the fuck up!
No.
That's not a comma. What the look at my
There's
ow, my
no
chest hurt. Oh
way.
my god, my chest hurt. My chest hurts.
You're
Ah!
making 95,000 a month. No fucking way.
Judicial court, 400. Regardless, $95,000 a year to be having cases that 2 years later are still under investigation. What are you being paid to do, my friend? Like you being paid to like not investigate stuff? Because that's a lot of money to be. I don't care. I'll say it. That's a lot of money to be bad at your job. What the hell? That did. Humana. Okay. One. Okay, you can't see it. It's really small, but it's right here where my mouse is. I don't care. No, I'm not. I'm yelling at myself. I don't care. Okay. Well, was any forensic work? Hold on. I gotta go. Okay. Was any forensic work done on the area that was cleaned up with bleach, a remedy for blood spatter? As far as I know, still at this point, there hasn't been anything forensic done, period. They didn't even, there wasn't even good forensics done on the autopsy, okay? Yeah, Beth, I'm going to leave this live stream up so you can go back and watch it. And I'm actually about to wrap it up because I said I didn't want to go over 2 hours because I don't want people to be intimidated to watch and not going to be a long one. So I if I'm feeling up to it, I may come back and touch base tomorrow, but probably maybe Saturday or Sunday. I will schedule it so that y'all will get the notification. I won't just pop up. But there's a lot of evidence that I need to go over, and I need to scroll through the Facebook groups and kind of get versed in what's happened since I've been gone, and give you all an update with that. I might even get with Nick behind the scenes and do some research on a new case just to kind of get. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna come back. I don't know if I'm gonna jump back into an old case or start fresh. Maybe let's, while I have you all here, how would you like me to pick up, and would you like me to work on a case I have already worked on, like Alex say, touch base on that, go back into the Noah case, or do a new case? It can I get some suggestions in the chat? Yeah, there is a lot of movement in the case. Hey Beth, I missed you. It's good to see you too. Noah's case. Okay, so I'll just double down and focus on Noah's case. I thought that Andrew Benedict is also represented BBC right now. Brooke? Wow. Okay, I can put you in touch with family. It's a very cold case of a missing female. Okay, I think I'm gonna kind of jump around and do a little. Okay, yeah, okay. That's a good idea, Bradley. I will I'll still look into that case, Nick, and maybe just save it for a later time. And because I need to get back into this case right now and show people what I brought to light and do it in a more organized manner and kind of go over it for the new people and the old people to get refreshed and so that I can get refreshed. Okay, so that sounds like a plan. So be looking out for my notification because I'm going to be going live within the next couple of days, and it's going to be about Noah. If you guys have any suggestions or anything like that, you can put it in the chat, and I'll watch the replay, and I will write down you guys' suggestions or your input. I always do that after a live stream anyway. My email is still in my about. People that have a way to get in touch with me that hasn't changed. If you have any new information or anything you want me to focus on, you can screenshot it to me or send me PowerPoints, or I love it and I'll share it on my next stream. So we're going to wrap this up. I'm not going to do no outro and be extra. I think we left off on a good note. So I will see y'all in a couple of days. I love y'all and take care and good night.